What if I told you that there was a way where you can dramatically enhance your drawing skills by making scribbles and turning it into something like this? Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Wilfred Lee. I'm the host of The Artist Journey, and today what I'm going to be doing is giving you guys some tips and ideas on how to creatively enhance your drawing skills by using the Pareidolia effect. So you're probably thinking right now, what is the Pareidolia effect? Pareidolia is a psychological phenomenon in which the mind responds to a stimulus, and usually an image or a sound, by perceiving a familiar pattern where none exists. Some famous ones that you've probably seen in the past was Jesus on a tortilla, Jesus on toast, Mother Teresa in a Cinnabon, the man on the moon in Mars. So I decided to do a little self-experiment and see how well it would work for me. So, what do you need in order to do a Pareidolia drawing? First, get a pen. Doesn't matter. The reason why I want to do this, I want to show people that you don't need any specific tools in order to do it, and puts less reliance on that, which I feel holds people back to start doing drawing, and focus more on what's going on in your mind. The reason why I also like to use pens is because there's no erasers. Don't use an eraser. We've become very, very comfortable with Control-Z, deleting, all that stuff, but sometimes a pen on a piece of paper shows you how important it is to have conviction, that there's no going back, that once you do something and whatever's dealt with you in life, you have to just keep moving forward and make the best out of it, and you'd be surprised how much you can push yourself from there. What I like to do first is I just like to start with a random scribble. I don't even want to look at it. Sometimes I'll listen to a song. Sometimes a song really helps out a lot when you want to work on the scribble. Just go for the mood, going with more of your feeling. It may look very, very overwhelming, but I assure you, the easiest thing to do is think less about it and at the same time gradually add more scribbles. Be patient. This takes time. Usually when I do one of these Pareidolia pieces, I do it for an average 3 to 5 hours. But it's always fun if I'm doing a live on Twitch because I'm talking to people, I'm getting engaged, and it always helps me preoccupy my conscious mind to them and at the same time work on my drawing with my subconscious part of my brain. I can actually peripherally notice that my subconscious is slowly taking over, and I'm trusting it more and more as I add more and more scribbles. Another helpful tip is whenever you're drawing a Pareidolia piece, always try to figure out what is the horizon line. If you're curious, a horizon line is basically what you see on eye level, and that's where all the perspectives of that horizon line start to reconvene and meet. For me, once I figure out where the horizon line is, it makes a huge difference because now I know where I can start to put things into perspective, even I have no idea what it is and why it's there in the first place. What's interesting about this too is actually a test on your internal references that you collected over your life and how you're able to interpret those things into a visual format or into a drawing. I spent many days drawing the anatomy of people, of animals, of draperies, of clothes, of buildings. It's one way to take a picture of something, but it's another it's even more intimate. And you draw it, you consume it in such a very intimate way with yourself that you get a closer bond to this experience. Think of layers and layers and layers. When working on a basic drawing, especially like basic fundamentals in storyboard, it's good to have 3 components into a drawing: foreground, middle ground, background. Those 3 intersecting together makes enough depth. That's where you can pull out the dynamic. If you can conceive each scribbles and things overlapping as things pushing further back into space, you're going to add so much breadth and depth into a piece. In the beginning, when you do a Pareidolia drawing, you start very basic in terms of what you see. It could be a human face. That's always a great idea. If anything, doing these random shapes and then applying eyes, nose, mouth, and ears, all types of facial features, helps so much in pushing out caricature skills in terms of what can you do with the body and still identify a human face. In drawing, the world is your oyster. It's you literally building a new universe. And by doing so, you're gonna get a lot of weird, crazy ideas, and you think it doesn't make sense. I don't know if I should put it in there. Follow those instincts to just go with the weird, and you're gonna pull out so many great things. So the best thing to do is try to express 3 different aspects of time, like past, present, and future. It's a really weird thing to say, right? Like, how can you create a piece that inhabits 3 different aspects of time? I feel like some of the best pieces that you ever see that you get engaged in, they seem to transcend all 3 at the same time, and they really harmonize it. It's all about your mind frame. It's all about perspective. And what really helps me to get into these crazy concepts whenever I draw is the mindset of, what am I able to do with drawing? What does drawing really mean? What if drawing is just lucid dreaming with your eyes open? I like to think of it as a superpower that everyone possesses. You just need to tap into it, because everyone has an ability of expressing themselves by writing things out, and it's only different because you're trying to interpret it through visual imagery. I think what really helped me out in this process is really thinking about the connection between the brain and the mind, and how to communicate that through drawing. Drawing is really interesting because it's basically 98% mental. It's about what's going into your mind, what are you thinking about, and how you perceive reality. And in reality, the other 2% is just basically the materials that you use. But for me, this is more like a psychonaut experience. You know, you've probably heard the term astronaut, going out into space. But for this, psychonauting is going deeper inside yourself, figuring out what the human condition is, and more, really get a really strong connection about how you think and how you interpret things that aren't necessarily there. And with being a psychonaut, it feels awesome to kind of dive deeper into this mysterious world, that as I draw all these certain sections in a piece, it gradually starts to make a cohesive whole, and it starts to make sense for me in some weird way. And that's how I can draw it out and find a new world and really rediscover. I mean, creativity does that for you. Creativity gives you a way to access this completely different world, sometimes not even existing in the real world. One of the most interesting mind frames for me that can help you get into drawing is what I like to refer as the collective unconscious, which was once coined by Carl Jung back in the day. The collective unconscious is us binding all our dreams together. This is where we all meet subconsciously. This is what I realize, is that the more I do it, I'm really figuring out what this world is, but also I'm diving in deeper and deeper, and I'm slowly understanding the laws of this weird universe. And this is just basically a small glimpse of all the craziness that we miss out on in the dream world. I think that concept alone makes it very interesting for me, and it helps to put a little bit of dynamic when I add a character or a person inside the pieces that are awake and lucid, and all these crazy things that are happening in. Drawing this makes me feel like I'm finding a new world that always existed, and I didn't know where it was until it told me where it was. Also, it's like the more that you go with the drawing, the less pressure it puts on yourself, because you feel like it's less about you and you just communicating with this other frequency in order to get something onto the paper. There's so many things that we do in life where we don't express it out into the real world, and it gets stuck, and it gets atrophy. You get creative atrophy inside yourself. Also, I can't really stress enough about the habit of drawing. I think this is basically the reason why I wanted to do this. It's just to promote drawing in general. I feel like as we get more and more technologically sophisticated, we're losing this connection that we have with writing and specifically drawing. And you'd be surprised how much you can improve if you took it as serious as other aspects of your life. Just remember, if you take drawing as serious as proper dieting, proper hygiene, exercising out regularly, you're going to create a deep appreciation that creativity is a muscle, and it can be refined and grow stronger and stronger. And even if you just devote just this amount of time for yourself, just to communicate with yourself, you'd be surprised in what you can find. So thanks for watching my video. I hope you really enjoyed it. Hope you got some really good insights out of it. If you're interested, please feel free to join me on my Twitch. You can actually support me on Patreon, or you can actually check out some of my artwork. I'm always looking forward to hang out with more people, have great conversations, and hopefully that we can meet up next time. Have a great day, guys. See ya!